Welcome back, and today we're playing out the F6F, and it's the 3.3 version. I said before that I thought this thing is honestly pretty good, but all of you said this thing is absolutely terrible, and I'm here to show you that it honestly can work in the right circumstances. Now, it does weigh as much as your mother, but overall it is manageable as long as you manage to get above your enemy. Now, the climb rate is pretty abysmal, but it does work in the grand scheme of things, because at 3.3 most of your enemies aren't the most aware people anyway. If this thing has some energy in it, it honestly turns quite okay. And at super low speed, the engine also produces quite a decent amount of power. Now, you do want to be careful with the web, as it is limited, and as you will see at the end of this game, you will eventually run out. And when you do so, if you are below someone, or to be honest, even if you are above someone, you might as well be an IL-2, because the engine ceases to exist and it just becomes way too heavy, even though it might have the wings to actually perform a turn. So you do really want to make sure that you conserve a bit of that web, and you can tell that throughout these fights I turn it off here and there to just conserve a bit of it, and at the end of the match it might actually pile up to be about a minute and a half to clutch out versus the last enemy. Now, if you actually do run out, it is just game over. You might get lucky because again it's 3.3, but overall the performance just isn't there anymore. Now, luckily, even without the web, it does go pretty fast. The issue is again the acceleration, which is so poor because it's simply so heavy. And in this plane I actually value speed a bit more over altitude, because if you go 500 in a merge, you actually might be able to complete the first turn and get onto the enemy 6, and then they might start making some mistakes, giving you plenty of opportunities to shoot them down, because the armament is also pretty respectable. Whereas if you merge at, say, 280 to 300 kilometers an hour and you are just a little bit higher than them, it's very easy for them to just cut inside of your loop. Even though they might not get the first or second shot in the prolonged fight, they will just wear you down, because they will start on your 6, because their rate is a little bit higher. So I like to just merge at a higher speed. So I will use the web to climb, obviously, and then I will just straighten out a little bit earlier than I normally would, build up some speed, and actually have the ability to counterattack whenever I merge with an enemy. And occasionally I will actually dive underneath enemies, giving up a little bit of position to just have that extra bit of speed to get that first shot. And getting the first shot is incredibly important, because this thing is all about it. The faster you go, the bigger your opportunity is to actually shoot them down, especially if your enemy is going also a lot faster. You don't compress a lot other than the roll. It is a bit floaty and awkward to aim, but overall you can see right here what I normally do. I dive a bit underneath the BF-109, pick up a bit of extra speed, and we just go into the head-on. We dodge the head-on. I see that he dodges as well, and then I will just straight up full commit. I want to put the pressure on them. I know it's not the most conservative way of playing, but you need to be aggressive, and you can tell because I had a bit of extra speed, I'm able to instantly pitch into him. And even though it probably wouldn't have killed him if he had just kept turning into the right direction, it does put a lot of pressure on him, because there's shots flying into his direction, and this forces him into a mistake. He turns into the wrong direction, he reversed his turn, he went up a bit too much, and now he's very slow, very stable, and I get a very solid burst into him, and then these 50 cals really are no slouch. We clean him up and we see some guys on the horizon, and instead of climbing or trying to get over them, I'm gonna just straight line it without web, conserve it a little bit, cool down the engine, and make my way towards them. And you can tell that I'm going a good 625 kilometers an hour here at about 2.5 kilometers, which for a 3.3 is incredibly respectable. Now I start slightly diving and I can't really tell what's going on around me because of all these clouds, but for now the 190 takes priority, because I know that he's going to be a very dangerous target later on. He's also kind of distracted, so we hold the trigger down, we almost ram his corpse out of the air, and then we spot the entire enemy team. Now we have a Focke-Wulf 190, Key 61, we have a Sakine, which aren't going to be the biggest threats. The Mustang is a little bit annoying because of the cannons, and the 190 definitely has the performance. So those are the two that I do want to clean up first. But for now, there's too many enemies around to really go for whoever I want to. I just want to kill the numbers by just flying around and seeing who presents itself. Now luckily, the 190 presents itself, who was also the main target. So we go up over his nose, we go very slow, we turn into him, we wait for him to stall, and then we use our excellent wings and flaps to just pull straight into the shot. And this is the strength of the F6F. Low speed, naval wings with naval flaps are incredibly strong, That's just an unfortunate truth that there's also some naval weight tied to it. But when you have some energy, this really doesn't come into play all that much. It's mainly the energy retention that just completely hampers you. But for now, we crit the 190, we continue on straight a little bit, build up some speed to extend away from this pack, and we crit one and kill the other and simply fly away straight into the clouds. Now, right now we are contested a little bit too much as the B7 comes out of nowhere, but luckily for us, he doesn't actually reverse the turn for us and just kind of flies towards Narnia. So we fly into the clouds, and after we fly to Narnia ourselves and come back out of the closet, we just go back to where we were and see if they're still there, and the entire enemy team is now ground pounding, which is great for us because this puts us in a great position to just boom and zoom the entire enemy team. Now, unfortunately, my web is running kind of low. I'm on basically half ammo and I don't know where anyone is. Now here we spot the B7A2 and he is going to be main priority, even though he's kind of playing like a bot. I'm not entirely sure if he's actually one, but in case it actually is a player, I do want to get him out of the match because the B7A2 is an absolute menace, and if you ever played one, you should know just how good it is. It will beat something like an XP50 in a 1v1, and especially with the air spawn, which of course doesn't come into play right now, because we just kind of ambush this guy as he's killing an AI target. We get a free kill, and we just go on to our next victim, and this time it's gonna be the sucking your nuts. Now, right now, we're going about 600, he's slow, he's low, and he's in the sucking, so I have like more energy than 12 Big Macs at this point over him. We just kind of wait for him to pitch into us. We pitch up over his nose, we go over the 90-degree mark to make him pitch an extra little bit. He burns all of his speed away instantly. We just wait for him to start dropping that nose, and the Sakin just has no ability to regain any energy whatsoever, so I can be even slower than I normally would be. I can also be a little bit more aggressive because I know that he doesn't have the ability to put his nose on us. But I like to play it a little bit safer as we are completely alone on this side of the map. I have a limited amount of ammo, so I'd rather just make it count. I need to clean up another 3 enemies with only about 800 rounds. It is more than enough if I manage to have good aim. But what if I run into all 3 of them at the same time? I need to spray a little bit. My guns let me down. They don't do enough damage. I'd rather just have more ammo, and playing it a little bit slower when we are completely alone on that side of the map anyway is, in my opinion, a good idea. Now here I don't really want to climb into the clouds. I have a feeling that 1 or 2 of them are actually taking off right now. So we are gonna actually straighten out, build up that speed, and at this point I'm kind of just forgetting about the web. This isn't a conscious decision. I should have turned it off right here. We run into 2 of them at the exact same time. And you can tell that the second I see the key 61, which is both a little bit higher as well as the more dangerous plane, I switch my focus to him immediately. I know I can somewhat hang with a whirlwind. I know I cannot deal with a key 61 if I ever get caught slow. So I want to kill him right here. And luckily for us, he is not really paying attention. Well, we get some shots in, he dodges, but because we have so much more speed than him, we can just put our nose straight up, wait for him to follow, then we drop the flaps, we go horizontal for a little bit, and then we instantly start dropping the nose. We wait for him to stall, just prolong that little bit extra, give yourself that little bit extra room, and now I'm in such an easy position to just completely hose him down. Down he goes, and the whirlwind together with the SB2C are flying into the opposite direction, and now I have ran out of web, which is not ideal, but I'm going about 450, the whirlwind is still climbing, I'm low on fuel, he just took off, so I'm actually going to be, relatively speaking, a little bit lighter than I normally would be compared to the whirlwind. So I do have a decent advantage here, but again I need to make sure that I merge properly. Use our speed here, we actually go down a little bit, make him pick up a little bit of speed as well, and then we go horizontal. I'm not trying to burn my speed off immediately, I'm trying to be as aggressive as I can and have the highest rate that I can have. And we just dome him directly on the top of his head, and we get a bit lucky with the spread there and the damage, but we down the whirlwind instantly, and now all that's left is the SB2C. And the SB2C is honestly a pretty damn annoying aircraft because it doesn't really stall. but it also doesn't have the best rate. So all I need to do is kind of get above it. I'm trying to use my speed here to slowly climb. I'm trying to keep this thing at about 400 as long as I can, just to have that bit of a speed buffer, still build up a little bit of extra altitude over him. But for now it looks like he's just going for the bombing target, so I know that he isn't trying to set up for an engagement, which is good for me, because now I am building a lot of energy on this guy, and it's just a matter of time. If you have the energy on an SB2C and you turn well enough, or you are fast enough, the thing is an absolute sitting duck. It's not a fantastic plane. Normally the thing that gets you is the stall speed, the airspan, the guns, and just the first turn that it might have. Now here he makes another mistake where he does another 180, and now I'm going 530 kilometers an hour and I'm already above him. He tries to pitch up for us, and at this point it is done deal. I just need to make sure that he doesn't actually hit us. I'm trying to keep it somewhat horizontal to keep my speed a little bit higher, so I'm actually able to dodge his rounds, which we do. He then stalls out and we just pitch straight down and we completely spray him down. I'm trying to get some shots in. Wing gets hit, fuel tank ruptured, gunner unconscious, and he's on fire. And that is going to be basically the entirety of this game. The F6F is limited, but it definitely isn't terrible. And with the right conditions, this thing can honestly be a pretty decent amount of fun. I always kind of bash this thing. Razor opened my eyes in 2019, I think it was. And since then, I've honestly kind of had a soft spot for this thing. I don't think it's the best plane or the most fun or definitely not the best looking. But for a game here and there, I think it's a pretty good pickup. And that's essentially all I have for you today. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.